Hello, friend. So, today I wanted to tell you about my meditation this morning and capture the spirit whilst it's still fresh. Since my awakening event that I talked about in my first video, I've been naturally waking up in the middle of the night at like 3 o'clock, sleepy and tired, but feeling that it was the right time to meditate and hit that special sort of 4 a.m. time, which is described in yoga as a time for meditation. I didn't plan this, but it's come organically for me. And this morning when I woke up, I had a slightly different urge than just to go straight to the mat. I've been thinking for some time about performing a deity style practice, but customizing it. I guess I need to explain deity practices. So in the Tibetan Buddhist tradition, deity practices are used to generate the spirit of a deity who represents an aspect of awakening mind, like compassion and love and light, and usually lots of things all together. And it's a visualization of this deity and all they represent, and it's bringing this deity into your being. And you generate things like white light emanating out from you, and feeling love and the compassion of the universe. You literally become the deity. That's the practice, and the idea is that through these visualizations, you have to visualize it at first, but the concepts that you're bringing into you, like light and love and compassion, and even the white light generating out of you, these are all completely real and available to you, and exist in the spiritual realm or in the possibilities of the universe. You're just not, when you're a beginner, you're just not tuned into feeling them and sensing them properly. So you first generate them, and then over time they start to make more sense, and you actually start to see it. The process is exactly the same as if you want to be more happy, you can tell yourself, like, over and over again, like, I'm a happy person, and look for moments of happiness in the world. And even if at first, when it's sort of happening, you don't really believe it because you're very depressed at the time, over time it starts to seep in a bit more, and you go, oh, actually I am a bit happier, and you generate it first, and then you bring it in. I'm going to grab the book which is guiding me on this. Yes. So this is the book I showed you in the first video, The Magic of Vajrayana by Ken MacLeod. And he beautifully talks about his story and his time with these practices. Yes, so I've been practicing these a bit recently. But yeah, I wanted to, for some time I've been thinking, actually, why can't I perform a deity style practice, but use this concept of Luke Human, which is the vehicle for everything that I want to do in this world. If I can generate exactly who Luke Human is and really see him clearly and bring him into my being, then I can step into becoming the person that I need to be to do what I want Luke Human to do. And this is a manifestation practice, I guess. Not that I've, this will not be new, not that I've read much about it, but it seemed to make sense to me. So I've been thinking about doing that for a while, but not got round to it. And this morning, I just had the thought popped into my head at 3 a.m. as I was just groggily sort of waking up, that I should go to my mood board where I've made a mood board that represents Luke Human for me, like all visual images, so I went there and I tidied it up a bit, tried to look through some of the concepts that were there, and then once I'd sort of finished, I just like, right, time to meditate now. I didn't have a set plan in mind, but I thought, okay, let's do the Luke Human deity practice, whatever that ends up being. And so I sit down to meditate, and maybe it's like 4:30 or something at this point, and I dropped in very quickly. Normally I will do breathing and I'll try and be present for a while, but I was just like, I just felt it, and so I started generating this feeling of what Luke Human was, and then I so at this point I have to pause to then sideway into explaining a very different style of practice from Kriya Yoga. This is Kriya Yoga for self-discovery, practices for deep states of meditation, by Keith Lowenstein, who is a Western doctor who spent 40 years studying Kriya Yoga. Again, this is just another completely beautiful, humbling book. It's so inspiring to read what these people have done with their lives, and that they're then able to share it in such beautiful detail for us to read is just incredible. So the main thrust of the practices in Kriya Yoga is you start with the postures. Yes, posture, breath. Wait, I'm going to get this right. Posture. Yes. You start with the posture. The main thing is to make sure your spine is really straight. Then you focus on the breathing as the sort of the stage 2 to the practice, and you sort of ladder up over time. If you're struggling with posture still, then sort of think about the breath, but focus on the posture. And then once you're sort of you're comfortable with your spine and everything, then focus more on your breathing. So it ladders up. Then it's the breathing and the pranayama practices, which are common in yoga. And then the next stage is visualization, which is essentially a third eye gazing practice, where you will hold your attention just loosely where your third eye is, and then hold it there. The idea is that if your mind is suitably clear, and especially this has also got lots of like other practices for asanas, which is the postures that you do in yoga, which help you to clear the channels in your body so that energy is flowing freely. And then when you're getting in touch with your breathing, you're getting more in touch with the spirit, because your breath is the connection between the spiritual realm and the physical realm that we can tap into. And so your body is sort of channeling energy very nicely, and you're tuning into energy. And then the idea is that your mind is sort of still and clear, and your mind-body system, your channel is ready. and you perform the third eye gazing visualization, and your attention wants to be very, very, very still at this point. Otherwise, it's going to be quite difficult and not really work. And you gaze at your third, where your third eye is supposed to be, and then it describes in the book, you will be aware of maybe quite probably a very sort of a white light like emanating from your being. And you've probably seen pictures of this, like even if you've not seen, think of the end of the Matrix when Neo dies and he becomes this glowing white light. That's the sort of that's the intense version. But yeah, so you're gazing at your third eye. You'll be aware of white light emanating from your body while still keeping your focus here. And I suppose if you do this well enough and for long enough, you'll even start to see things like symbols appearing to you. I'm guessing they look probably like chakras, but it could just be a white light or something. It's different for everyone. So I've been trying this practice a bit recently and was struggling with it a bit. I've been working with my breath a lot recently, and that's been great. But if I was finding it just sort of difficult to focus and not quite being able to just tune in and really settle my attention there, it was a new practice and not something that I remember thinking like I probably just need to spend a bit more time training my attention on this point, because like I'm getting very good at keeping my attention here, because I've been doing this practice of breath concentration at the nose for 5 years. But so I was like, all right, I need to just practice a little bit more. But this morning, so going back to the Luke Human deity practice that I'm performing, so I'm generating the feelings and sort of what he represents, and then just completely intuitively, without any thought, or it just sort of started happening and felt right, and I followed it. That I had an image in my mind of the most salient image on my mood board of what I thought Luke Human looked like, and it was this quite trippy AI image of a really cool looking dude who looks a little bit like me, but he then sort of appeared right in my third eye space as this image, and just settled there completely effortlessly, and there was no effort needed to hold my attention there. It was my attention was being sort of sucked into it and just sort of glued onto this image, which is something the book describes. Like when you get sort of good, you're like magnetized to this third eye space. So this image is there, and I start repeating a mantra. I can't actually remember what it was, but it was something like I am Luke Human or something like that. So I'm repeating this mantra, and then suddenly a shot, like a shot into my brain is beamed this message. This message. I am the goddess of white light. Just once, very, very, very clearly. And that is the thrust of the first sort of main deity practice that Ken introduces to you in this book. The deity practice he gives you is the deity he gives you is Tara, the goddess of white light, and so this is the practice I've been trying with that sort of book. I am the goddess of white light, beamed into my head, And so that became my new mantra. I just followed that instead. I am the goddess of white light. I am the goddess of white light. I am the goddess of white light. Holding still my attention there, and I am the goddess of white light. And then and then after not very long at all, I could feel my body getting very, I could feel my body getting tired and just sort of wanting to rest. And normally, my meditation sessions are long. Like I have this idea that it's not unfounded, that you want to put time in and you're retraining your brain, and that's really important, especially when you're beginning. But this was a very short practice by comparison, and I just felt that I repeated the mantra quite a few times, but I just could also just feel the energy slipping away, and that it was time to rest. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to follow that now. Just going by feel, and just what feels right and what is presented to me is what I'm following. And then I go back into my bed to get some more sleep. It was like 5 a.m. or something like that, and I'd not slept very long, so I obviously could use some more rest. But as I was drifting off to sleep, I thought how remarkable that was, because in the book he describes this process of the practices. There is a generation phase, and then there is a phase of rest that follows up afterwards. You practice very, 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 very intensely with your visualizations and your prostrations, and which is where you like pray to the Buddha and that sort of thing, and all these things that you will do in a Tibetan retreat. And you do this very, very intensely and rigorously. But at some point, you just need to rest and let go, and let the work that you've done just sink into your being. And often it's in this period of time and rest when the real clarity and the real magic, the magic of Vajrayana, like, actually happens. And in the book he describes this as sort of occurring over the course of a retreat, and he describes doing multiple 3-year retreats across his life. So you can imagine that you're practicing very, very intensely all day, every day, for months and months, like years. But at a certain point, you're just exhausted, and you have to trust that you've done enough good work, and that actually it is the time to rest. But I realised as I was drifting back off to sleep that generation phase, active hard work phase, followed by rest, is just as appropriate for understanding how a deity practice would work. I just thought that was incredible, and I've never, it's safe to say I've never had an experience anything like that this morning. So that's why I wanted to share that. Something else I will share is that that idea of the generation phase and then the rest phase. This doesn't just apply to spiritual practices. That's the same for anything. If you want to learn something and you're studying in school, you focus very, very intensely on the material, and then it gets to a point where you get tired and you're like, okay, this is not going in, and probably you start to go, oh, I'm never going to get this is really hard. But then if you go for a walk or you have a nap, you sleep on it overnight, suddenly your brain just sorts it all out and makes sense of it and figures out the concept. Sort of active phases, rest phases is just completely critical. That's another thing that I'm learning to trust a lot more. Having a lot more periods of just rest in my day, where I'll meditate or just go for a walk, and the time in between is so much more productive. There's so much I could share about what I'm learning about the world and myself, but I wanna leave it there. Yeah, final thoughts. So after these morning meditations, I've also since the first video, like 3 days ago, it's been a habit to then go outside and watch the sunrise, and to go for a short walk just to wake my body up, and to hug my two favourite trees in the park. And they've been a very special force in my life since I made friends with them about 2 weeks ago. So that's a really, really beautiful part of this routine that's emerged. I hope you're well, and I hope you're well.